Hello everyone, my name is Claude Huggins and today I will be showing you my process on how I draw a picture. I prefer to start out with the default Photoshop size simply because I like working small. It gives me more challenge to work in the little details and gets it to a good size that is optimal for viewing on my blog or other parts of the internet. So to start, I start with a basic brush with a diameter of 2 pixels and a hardness of 100%. I usually like to work in black for this, but any color you like as long as it is visible. I will set that to fit screen so we can see it better and move these windows out of the way. And we will start on our sketch on a new layer. We will name this sketch. And in this first lesson we will just be working on the basic sketch and trying to figure out what exactly it is that we're drawing. Here earlier you may have seen this on my blog. I drew this picture of Jimmy. And that is sort of the style that we are going to be going for, but this time I would like to draw eagle bones. He's going to be different because of his hair, and that will add extra depth to our drawing. So we're going to start out with some simple shapes, just a sort of rough sketch of where we're going with this. I mostly draw him with triangular shapes and circles. The eyes I always draw very large. They are usually slanted towards the center of his face in a very sad puppy-like expression. On Jimmy they are more rounded. Again, using a lot of triangles. This sort of expression is hard to get right because you don't want to make your characters look cross-eyed. You can add eyebrows if you want. I usually don't. I just assume that they're covered by either the helmet or the mask. Speaking of the mask, I almost forgot to draw that in. Just a simple little sketch. Just trying to figure out where everything's gonna go. It's not gonna be too clean because we aren't going to use this in our finished painting. Just so long as you know where everything's supposed to go, you'll be fine. And just sketching in the helmet here. Let me get a bigger brush size for that eraser. I always try to keep in mind that the mask is on top of the helmet. And this is important because that's going to sort of squish the earpieces of the helmet. So they're not going to go outward, they're going to curve in and then go outward when that mask ends. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay, now that we've got the head down, I'm going to draw in the hair last so it'll be easier to tell where things are going to go. Just to keep things clean. We're going to start work on the body. I always start with a line of balance which is always straight down at a 90-degree angle to the bottom of your canvas. Unless you're drawing at an angle, in which case it would be a 90-degree angle to your eye line, or your horizon, whichever. And then a line of action, which I can convey like this. I want him to be extending his chest outwards and have his hips sort of back. So we can start our sketch based on that. I like to think of the body as a sort of punching bag shape. A sort of soft, rounded cylinder usually helps. And if we draw in the hips really quick, the hips are usually just an extension of the body that's more rounded off. We can draw in the legs. You want to keep your legs sort of equidistant, or relatively equidistant, from your line of balance. That's why we drew it in there. Because if your character's center of balance looks off, he's going to look like he's going to fall. If you're doing an action shot where a character's being knocked backwards, or he's otherwise about to fall, this isn't really much of a problem because that's the look you're going for. But if he's supposed to be standing, sitting, anything that requires balance, that balance line is going to be very important in the composition of your drawing. That's why you always want to draw that first, so that anything that you do can keep that line in mind. Just drawing in a basic sketch of the arms. Making sure to give them plenty of form so that we'll know where to color. Actually, in Lineless, it would be best not to do my traditional hand style and instead go for a sort of whatever that is. I'm not entirely sure what to call it. I'm going to give this one a thumb. Should probably give this one a thumb too, just to make it look consistent. Consistency is key. Sketch in the neck really quickly. This is getting a bit messy. I want to clean up this sketch a little bit. We can get rid of this center line. Because since we've already placed the legs and the body, we don't exactly need it anymore. We can still sort of see it if we need to change something. But we do want to leave the action line, because that's where most of the time the center of the chest is going to be. And we want to keep that in mind so that we can draw the clothing. The belt, the pants, etc. I usually cheat with the belt because I don't want to draw the bat. It's mostly a stylization choice, but it's also just me being lazy. You can do what you like. Just want to connect those legs so there aren't any sharp edges on them. And that's basically it for the sketch. In the next lesson, we will work on putting down the basic flats.